Oh, we are live. Hey, hey, hey. It is indeed. It's 12 o'clock. He's ready to have a goth time. We love to see it. So I'm not surprised that Lizzie is horizontal. Lizzie was at work until what time this morning, Lizzie?
5 o'clock this morning.
Mm-hmm. And what time were you working to yesterday?
4 o'clock?
4 o'clock in the morning.
And then I had a full day of doing stuff yesterday.
And today.
I did rehearsal today. And I'm like, I'm dead.
That sounds like a no.
Deceased.
Yeah.
It's a really easy job, though.
It's a really what?
Easy job, though. Like,
at least there's that. It has to be at that time in the morning.
Yeah.
I had my COVID jab. I get the booster.
Oh, okay.
And I can't lift my arm properly. This is about as far as I can go properly. Still hurts a bit there, but it's fine. Yeah. Anything above the head, I just put away the dishes. And I make Lizzie look short, but I'm not tall. And so all of the cupboards are above my shoulder height.
Mm. You're like, this is inconvenience to me.
Yeah, like I can't even put the plate that goes at the very bottom of the cupboard away because this is painful.
Mm. Hey. Yeah, it's a lot.
I'm being paid for it though, so
there is that. Well, to be fair, like Lizzie was able to treat us to Subway today, so could be worse.
Well enough.
And I'm going to do mac and cheese for dinner as well. We're not going to eat for a bit, I know, but I figured we've been meaning to do that for a while.
We have.
By we, I mean. Oh, that's nice. YouTube has just told me that I've gone live. Thanks, YouTube.
Thanks, YouTube. Totally didn't know that.
What are your plans for this eve, for these reading sprints?
I'll go first because Lizzie is still waking up, I think.
That's right.
So I am going to be hopefully finishing, but we shall see. It's on my Kindle if you couldn't tell. Lock. There we go. I finally made it do that. I figured it out. Minor detail. I need to buy the finished copy. The physical copy is what I meant to say. Does Waypoint have it or not?
I find out who you.
Because if Waypoint
it's not there at the moment, but that's only because it was out of stock.
If Waypoint can get it, I will support two people who deserve support. And if not, then I still want to support the author. If anyone doesn't know, I've never had to say this name out loud before. Adania Shibli was supposed to be getting an award for this book. It's a novella. It's like 100 pages, and it is about a Palestinian woman who is raped and murdered by Israeli forces, and then a woman later on who then ends up looking into this historical act that happened in the 40s. So it's all about the conflict that's happening in Palestine right now. I've not actually confirmed with you two about your thoughts, but also I know you both well enough. So free Palestine. Of course, that's what I'm saying. Like we've not actually confirmed it, but
obviously, and it is still out of stock. Unfortunately, I've just checked.
So I'll have to get it from Shyamalan, but we will make do. And yes, so the book award that this author was supposed to get was cancelled because of the war with Israel. Is the direct quote from the award holders, which is some bullshit. So the publishers also found it bullshit, so they made the ebook free on the vast majority of online services. So like Apple Books, Kindle, Kobo, it's free pretty much everywhere. Go grab it. Like it's a difficult read, don't get me wrong, but read it.
It's one of the ones where I was like, this seems like a really important book, but I'm not going to read it because it's about sexual assault. And then I heard that it was like literally banned, and like, yeah, not just the fact that it was cancelled from the award, but the fact that it was banned from like loads of libraries and loads of distributors and like loads of places across Europe and stuff have just banned it, etc. And then I was like, oh, I need to read it. Like I was like, I know this is like, it's such a triggering subject for me because it's not just the fact that she's not a woman, she's a child sexually assaulted, and it is then becomes the fixation of this woman who is documenting stuff in Palestine. So it's that kind of like that I was like, this is good. All of this is triggers for me. Like, I'm not triggered by
Yeah.
much, but these are the things. And I was like, I don't know if I can.
So I
Lizzie
will
is
say,
not asleep, but they might as well be.
she may as well be. I've only read the first half, and when I say the first half, I mean the book is split into two. One is from the point of view of the head of the battalion, I'm not entirely sure, the general of the group of Israeli troops. I've only read that half in its entirety. I'm still reading the other one. And so that is obviously the one where we definitely get some of the content in it. It's from his point of view. So in terms of what could be triggering and content warnings that might be needed, it's not as graphic as it could be, but you still get the full intent of it. And it's a really interesting viewpoint to read from, because obviously that Israeli general doesn't think he's doing anything wrong. And it's really weird to read from that viewpoint, like really weird, because you're reading it and you can tell that the eyes you're reading this through, he thinks he's done nothing wrong at all. But it's weird. It's beautifully written, and also whoever did the translation, fantastic. But moving on from that, because I'm not just reading that because it's only like another 50 pages and it's neat. So I'm also going to read bits of When Women Were Dragons by Kelly Barnhill. This is for the empowerment prompt, which I filled accidentally by starting Dune Machien's memoir and not being able to put it down. And then I'm listening to the audiobook of She Who Became the Sun. And then if I still need another book, that's the last one on my TBR.
And then if I need another one,
it'll have to be this one.
That's valid. That's fair. That's fair. I've kind of got the same sort of thing where I've got quite a few. I'm going to start with Death Note Volume 1 because I've been like reading that in like little fits and bursts, and I feel like my brain is not braining today. So I'm going to read that. Once I finish that, I'm going to pick up Lore Olympus Volume 2 because then that will be 2 Gothtober prompts ticked, which means that I will have totaled a whole 5 in my own readathon. And then I will go back to the other things that I've started. But I've also got The Daughter of Dr. Moreau that I'm reading for Gothic Along, and because I was so far behind of my own readathon, I've started doing that as an audiobook, and I've caught up very quickly because I am enjoying it, but I can also see why people aren't. And the discussion in the Discord is a great time because there's such like a mix of conversation on that. So yeah, I'm going for gentle, easy reads today because I had to be social all day yesterday, social all day today, and that's too much for me. That's too much socializing for me. And I really had to put on like my networking hat for both of them. So I was definitely overcompensating big time. So yes, Lizzie can confirm. And what about yourself, Lizzie? What are your plans for this eve? I would absolutely understand if you were like, I'm going to snooze during these sprints. Like, I would get it. I'd understand.
Well, I'm going to put an audiobook on. I don't know what audiobook I'm going to put on. So that's fun. Because I have no more Gothtober audiobooks, but I don't really think I can read. But what I should be reading, and I was really like, do I say this? Because, you know, Abby's just said like a really poignant thing about like Palestine and reading a really important book. And honestly, if I feel like reading physically, the book I'm going to be reading is this dragon porn book. I feel like it's like I've done it now. But you know, I was like, this feels incorrect to be talking about after you, Abby. But you know, if I feel like physically reading, this will be it because I've only got 100 pages left. And the thing is, I'm vlogging this. And do I look like I want to be in a vlog?
No, finish it tomorrow. Like, you don't need to finish it today. But also, the fact that this had such, you know, that TikTok that's like, and then that's when we went back then it's like, and then it's like, killed that Iraqi, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, today I saw a balloon. Like, it has that real, like, it's like, I dug the bullets out of there. That's it. I was like, I dug the bullets out of that Iraqi skull. She's like, he couldn't be traced back to me. Today I saw a balloon. It's very much the energy that I got from both of you. Like, so free Palestine, dragon porn. Like, it's a very,
very, very awkwardly. The reason I say I don't know what audiobooks I'm going to listen to is because one of the audiobooks I'm listening to is Golden Sun, and obviously his name Pierce Brown. His comments around Palestine is real problematic, so I don't know if I want to read that at the moment. So I'm like, I do want to read it because it's a great fucking story, but I'm also like, I don't know what I'm going to read right this second.
That's fair. What are your other options? What are you feeling?
Oh my god.
Whilst you're thinking, let's go through what other people have said. So Pixie said the only problem they've got left is fake dating, and they're just not in the mood for that right now. I know Hannah thinks I should let go of Paradise Lost, but I'm more of a hell mood. I'm trying to think if there's like a hellish fake dating or like literary fake dating I can think of, because my favorite fake dating recommendation that's literary is The Beautiful Ones, and it's not that they both know they're fake dating, it's that one of them is fake seducing someone to get someone else bitter about it. So I feel like that would work. There must be a couple of others that I can think of that like would suit for the same sort of vibe, but that's like the first one that comes to mind. And then obviously you've got your classics like Take a Hint, Danny Brown, that's just a good time. To All the Boys I Loved Before is just a good time. I'm trying to think if there's like any other like graphic novels or something like Gentle that you might be able to find online as well could work. I actually really like the audio for Daughter of Dr. Moreau. I find that because it's quite a gentle feminine voice, it doesn't really like she kind of manages the different perspectives quite well. It makes the main character, who's a guy, Montgomery, sound less like a douche. And also the young woman doesn't sound quite so childish either in her voice. I think it works to humanize them, to be honest. Read the List by Yumi Adegoke. Okay, yeah. Sounds good. Hello and welcome. I think I'm going to read Wish You Weren't Here. I'm expecting it to be an easy read. Yeah, that's valid. To be honest, I might find my copy and do the same when I'm done with Lore Olympus. I just need easy stuff to read. I need it to be gentle this evening. I've borrowed T. Kingfisher book. One of the endorsement quotes is from Chuck Tingle, and that has tickled me. Which T. Kingfisher have you picked up? Let me know. And also, Chuck Tingle is a great name. It's just a great name.
Hello, isn't he the smart writer? I feel like Chuck Tingle is the smart writer who then wrote a like serious book recently, and everyone was like, "Interesting."
I feel like it feels like a non-diplome for saucy writing.
Interesting. Where's the porn for the serious book?
Don't know. I found an audiobook.
Go.
I'm going to listen to The Great Hunt, which is book 2 in the Wheel of Time series, because that's a long ass one, and I can just let that.
Excuse me?
Yeah.
Excuse me?
Yeah, I knew that this was like. I knew that he did this stuff, but hey,
I need to understand the logistics. That doesn't make sense.
I love that Ellen's just come in to be like, but I'm my own bad guy.
Yeah, he's done Camp Damascus. There's the only book of his that I'd ever recognize.
But I know that like everyone kind of is really enjoying Camp Damascus, like, and I want to read that too. So.
Oh, he wrote a trans Harry Potter retelling. Love that. Yes, there is a book of his with 322 ratings called Pounded in the Butt by My Own Butt.
But I need the logistics. Like, how?
He also wrote another one called Bigfoot Pirates Haunt My Balls. My Billionaire Triceratops Craves My Gay Ass. Donald Trump Pounded in the Butt by a Handsome Russian. Not gonna lie, this guy sounds hilarious.
I don't want to read his book.
It's a guy just wants themselves truck, but it is a non-diplome, so it could be anybody. And it says he on his profile. That was a guess.
That's the pronouns that he's asked for, so
yeah. They've got A House of Good Bones. Nice. And then I really, really liked Mischief Acts. I really liked it. It was really weird because it wasn't what I was expecting it at all. And it starts, because it kind of like works its way through history. It starts as kind of like an old Beowulf retelling type thing. And then it turns into like a Shakespearean ballad. And then it turns into like a Greek myth. And then it turns into like a contemporary, like the way you work your way through it. It's wild. It's such a good time though. It never stops making sense. Hello and welcome. Reading The Murder Game by Carrie Doyle. Nice. I'm taking it as more of a metaphor, like poetry. It's more vibes than the actual thing making sense. That's valid. That's valid. Okay. I've just realised I've not set up which is really helpful to me. I have not set up the timer. So which time are we feeling? I know, Lizzie, you usually opt for leaves rustling.
Mm-hmm.
Have you got a preference, Abby?
I'm good with leaves.
Good with leaves? Okay. Let's start with leaves then. It really tickles me because every now and then YouTube will be like, this is one of your most popular videos. And I'm like, yes, it's me watching it.
Wait, how many views does it have?
Currently, 167.
And how many of those are you?
A good 140. Like, I really like listening to it when I read. To be fair, it won't all be me. I know it's not all me. But if you think about it, like, the last 5 or 6 at least, like, have got to be me because I've used them for reading sprints.
Yeah.
So
unless someone has went on during Gothtober.
Well, not only that, but like if you think about it, if I sprint for 8 hours, that's at least 8 sprints. They're 45 minutes long, so that's at least 8 times, and I was doing that at least once a month. So 12 times 8 is like, I don't know, I'm not doing the maths, but you get the point.
Don't do maths. Don't make me do maths.
I feel like it's like 96.
I'll take your word for it.
Well, 10 times 8 is 80 plus 16.
I just said the words, I don't do maths.
Can you not just be proud of me that I pulled that out of my literal ass? Like, I literally was like, I'm not going to do the maths, I can't bother. 96. like had like a little like.
I am proud of you, but I'm also displeased with the fact that you made my brain think about numbers.
That's fair. I can only apologize.
You're not that.
I'm not going to, but I can only apologize.
This is why I didn't continue and get a PhD, because the numbers just get worse in the science side of things.
Oh, I hate that for you. There we go. It's ready. It's ready for whenever we're ready. Also, thank you to Scorpio Rising for subscribing. If you're out there. That just popped up in my little notifications.
If you're out there in the ether.
You're out there in the ether. Oh, there you are. Yeah. Hey. I was having a look at my notifications because I've just seen that Deanna's mum has texted me.
Also, for anyone new here, this is my general state of being. And if you come to many of Hannah's sprints that I'm on, 98% of the time, I will be in this exact position.
Well, what really tickles me is I'm back into my original sat on the sofa position, and no one has commented on it because the only 2 times I've sprinted over there, everyone's been like, why are you over there? I don't understand. So the fact that I'm back to my normal position, it's not going to get commented on.
I only have one position.
That's fair. Now, this feels mildly threatening. Do you mean what would I do to earn 1,000 subscribers, or what am I going to do to celebrate?
She means celebrate.
Okay. To celebrate, I have got a Patreon set up that I would love to launch, but I've told myself I'm only launching it when I hit 1,000 subscribers, and it ranges from £1 all the way up to £50. There's like 7 different things, because the £50 one, you get like 3 books a month as part of being my patron, and it'll be like a 5-star that I've really enjoyed from the previous month, a hardback new release, and then like a book club pick and things like that. So I mean to celebrate. Thank you. Yes. So if I hit 1,000 subscribers, that's my plan. Is I'd like to launch that. But yeah, I was kind of hoping that I would hit 1,000 during Gothtober, and that hasn't really happened. And it's one of the first times that my subscriber count hasn't massively jumped in Gothtober. And I think that's just because people have lives and they've gone back to work and they're doing things as opposed to anything else. But I'm not that far away. But I have found that every time I post something on like Twitter or Instagram where I'm like, I'm really close, suddenly I lose loads of subscribers. So I don't want to be like, hey guys, subscribe to me, but also
I'm in pretty much the same position as you. I've just checked it, and I'm at 987.
Oh, you're closer than I am then, because I'm still in the 60s.
But that's only been recently. One of my videos did well that I wasn't expecting to do well. I don't do any SEO. I keep getting bothered by
I don't feel
this
YouTube,
person.
no.
This person DM'd me on Instagram, so it was in my requests, and I ignored him because I don't want to purchase someone's assistance for SEO. I'll do it if I can be asked. But then he's commenting on my videos, on my shorts. He's found my TikTok. He's found my Goodreads. He's requested to be a friend on my Goodreads, and if you do that, I have a question set up, which is just, what's your favorite, like, diverse book? Because sometimes people will come in and say Harry Potter, and then I'm like, delete. Like, come on, man, it's not diverse. And in that, he was like, I can help your SEO. Dude, leave me alone.
I hate that. I get so many emails of people that have like found my email address through YouTube and been like, have you considered doing this? I'm like, I work in content for a living. I know that some of that SEO stuff is just a crock of shit. Like, some of it works and some of it is in the written content that you do, and you can obviously focus on certain words. You have to pay for it. So if I'm paying you this amount, how much are you actually putting to Google to do that? Because they're the ones that actually use the algorithm and shit like that. So yeah.
And I keep getting asked if I want to be an author.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm not even a Christian.
See, this is the thing, is like literally everyone I've spoken to, and especially like people in my Discord, have said to just launch it anyway. Like Ali has told me to just launch it anyway and to not worry about waiting until, and I think you've said that as well, haven't you, Lizzie? To just
Yeah, I just do it because I mean you got loads of people on like Discord and stuff that already buy into your like other content, so.
But then they're getting it for free. Like, and this is the thing, is like the Discord is going to stay free, but it will be a way for me to share certain things, and I'll be able to set it up so that people that join the Discord but are members of certain things will get certain things that other Discord people won't. Because there's no way I'm putting something that I have been doing for free behind a paywall. But it is more work. So it is kind of why I want to wait until I hit that 1,000 to then take on that more work.
I've been debating whether or not to do it at all.
That's fair.
Like, because I obviously I've got like my own little community, but not in the way that you do. I don't have a Discord, partly because Discord confuses my brain.
That's fair.
I barely interact with Hannah's Discord. Do I message Hannah almost every day in the group chat? Yeah. Do I do the Discord? No, it confuses me.
And that's valid. That's valid. I also really love Stalker. No, outrageous.
I've literally had that. Like, and then I've had some people being like, I don't know, can you recommend me one? And I've never heard of them before in my life. And it's like, you don't, it's not even like you're someone that I know.
They can just
like,
follow you. They don't have to be your friends. They can just follow you, and then they'll get those recommendations anyway, because they'll see what you've rated 5 stars or not.
Like, I read a minimum of one diverse book a month. Like, leave me alone.
Yeah. They should have done what I did and just bombarded you via Twitter and said, did you want to come on a readathon?
It worked.
Like, did you want to be my friend or not?
Caitlin from Mad Cheshire Rabbit, who is how I'm then friends with Eleanor, I believe. Because I'd known Eleanor a bit before. I think we messaged a bit. And then Caitlin is also Scottish. And so was in kind of like the Scottish crowd of like new booktubers. And it kind of went like that. She just messaged me asking, it would be nice to be friends. Would you like to be my friend? And at the time I was like, I don't know this person, but like, I'll be nice. I'll message them. I'm going to be a bridesmaid. She's been texting me pictures of her newborn baby.
I love
it. It was born on the 14th. Like,
I love that.
It's brand new. So, like,
but this is the thing,
just following people works.
Yeah, no, for sure. And like, I've been watching Eleanor's content for ages. Like, I love Eleanor's content, especially the TikTok. I don't know what it is about you on TikTok in particular, Eleanor. Love the TikTok content. So when Eleanor was like, yeah, like did the thing to be a Waypoint rep, I was like, yes, immediately, yes, like for sure. And I was so excited because I was like, yeah, I love this person's content. Of course, I want them to recommend me to other people. Yeah, excellent. So I love that. Lizzie and I just played D&D online, and then Lizzie made the mistake of inviting me to move in.
Yeah, well, I badgered Hannah enough to move in with me.
Mm-hmm.
And now Hannah's made a horrible mistake because she's never getting rid of me.
Genuinely, I said the other day, I was like, yeah, I'm considering moving like back to Ken. I might move out, blah, blah, blah. And Lizzie just went, no. Like, that was it. Like, that was no. And then just walked away. Like, we're not doing this. It's not happening.
Yeah, I'm not.
It's expensive, don't.
It's fair. It's fair. Lizzie is officially my partner for life. I don't get a choice now. I don't need a romantic partner. I've got a platonic housemate that won't leave me alone.
Well, like yesterday, Hannah was on a live and I was getting ready to go to work. She couldn't even escape me then, and I wasn't even invited to, and I still stuck my head in.
Yeah, just Lizzie comes running downstairs. I have opinions, and I'm gonna share them.
To be fair, I would do the exact same thing if I was in the house.
To be fair, like it really tickles me because I remember when I was younger, and like there was like a swarm of people that were doing like those YouTube houses where people would like make content in the same house and like live together and stuff. And I remember sitting there thinking, that's weird. It's weird that people would do that. Why would you move somewhere just to live with someone and make content with them? I'm in Lizzie's vlog. I'm literally like behind Lizzie being like, hello. I'm just there. I'm constant. And I fully expect Lizzie, like there's been times when I've been like discussing things with Olivia and Tish and been like, okay, we're going to do these live shows. And Lizzie's just wandered past and gone, and I will be there. I'm like, you weren't invited, but I guess you live here, so.
It's all right. Now I've got like 2 jobs, though. Finding the time is much more.
2? You only got 2?
Yeah,
you left one in the last hour.
Yes. No, I've still got 3.
You do still have 3, and I hate that for you.
What is fun though for your sleepover next week, the Gothtober sleepover, I'll be rocking up at 5 a.m. after work and I'll be like, morning.
So about that, you might have to host it on your own because Olivia's got. She texted me today. I can't remember what she's got. She's got plans. She's got things. She's got things going on. I think she's doing. Oh, she's interviewing Cassandra Clare.
Oh, nice.
I don't know if I was supposed to say that. I think that's public knowledge that she's going to an event that Cassandra Clare's at. I'm so sorry, Olivia.
So
I don't know if she's actually interviewing her or if she's going to a thing where Cassandra Clare's being interviewed. I don't know. I don't remember. I was half asleep when she texted me earlier. But regardless,
move on.
The original plan was that we would stream. It would be we'd watch the watch along thing together, stream until midnight on their channel, swap to my channel, and then stream to whenever. We've both decided neither of us are very good at late nights, and because they've got plans the following day, and it is most likely going to be a work thing because it's publishing, and I've got rehearsal. I was like, it's fine. We'll do like 7 to 12 on your channel, and then 7 a.m. till 12 p.m. on mine. And then Olivia was like, well, I can't actually make that time because I will need to be doing. I would at church and doing other things. So I was like, okay, I'm just going to sprint in the evening then. So it's the sleepover on Olivia's channel in the evening on the Saturday, and then sprints on Sunday. And I am very, very tempted, but please don't hold me to this. I'm really tempted to sprint all day Monday and Tuesday as the last 2 days of the month, just to see how much reading and cramming in I can get done alongside work and stuff.
Well, whether I join in on that depends on how events go on the 31st, because Chris has his driving test. Fair. And so if it goes badly and he's upset, he doesn't need me being loud and happy upstairs.
Valid.
I was looking forward to rocking up at 5 a.m. and just being like, hello.
I mean, you can host Gothtober sprints all your own at 5 a.m. if you like, but I know full well you'll need to be asleep.
That was not what I was saying at all. I was not suggesting that I would be putting any work in. Also, my hair definitely needs getting rid of, because that is a loop.
That you're having a time.
I am, so I'm just gonna shove my head back in the pillow so no one can see.
Okay. You're like, that's fair. That's fair. I was trying to work out why there's a little like wombat type thing. It's National Wombat Day. Or International Wombat Day. There's like a little wombat on my Google search, and I don't understand why.
Okay.
I thought you meant something we could see.
No, it's just been distracting me this entire time because it's like I've got your faces and then that.
I was looking like in the background. I was like, where the fuck is the wombat?
Oh, do you see that thing behind you? Turn around.
Shut the fuck up.
It's right there.
Hannah, I will kill you in your sleep. I know where you live.
You won't. Also, you don't creep around as quietly as you think you do. To be fair, I didn't hear you last night. I did hear you the night before, but that's because you knocked things over. So
yeah, I did. I knocked a bunch of stuff off my bookshelves the night before. Yeah, I was like, fuck. I'd kind of like managed to get out the stairs, and then I managed to step on every creaky floorboard in my room that exists, which is a lot. and then I put something on my bookshelf, and then just like a couple of my replica swords things just fell off my shelf, and I was like, wonderful. I was like, Hannah's definitely heard that because my room is directly underneath Hannah's.
I did. Can confirm. Right, shall I throw us into a sprint then? Should we do some reading?
Yes.
Excellent. I am going to burn a candle. I'm tempted to make myself a hot drink, and I'm going to read some Death Note, and it's going to be a good time.
You know, a sad thing that's happened.
Oh no, what?
I passed out and left my Earl Grey to go cold.
You what?
I passed out and let the Earl Grey go cold.
That is sad. That is really sad. I'm sad.
I mean,
for
it is a
you.
national offence in Britain to allow that.
I woke
So-
up and I know, but I woke up and I saw it and I was like, God damn it! I was
Not only
meant to
that,
drink
it's
that.
Sainsbury's Taste the Difference Earl Grey. It's fucking banging.
How
It's
dare you?
To be fair, we knew going in because we'd made it whilst we were waiting for the subway to arrive. We then had the subway, and then we were like, right, we need to nap. Like we're both exhausted. Went upstairs, and then at that point, I realised I needed to pour the tea that I'd made 45 minutes beforehand. So I came back downstairs, poured it. It was delicious, can confirm, because I had mine, but I had mine whilst texting my mother. So there was no sleep to be had when that was happening. Right. There we go. 45 minutes, which means we'll finish about 10 past. I will see you then. Hey. And just in time, we have an Olivia.
Hello.
How are you?
I am good.
Hello.
How's your day been? How's the new hair?
Oh, it's nice. It's red on the ends. I guess you can't see it in this really rubbish lighting that I've got going on.
No, but it looks great on Instagram.
Thank you.
So how did we all get on that sprint? I managed 78 pages of Death Note, which means I have 12 left.
You're making me do maths again. I
You
read
just did good.
I read 15 pages of When Women Were Dragons and 52 pages of Minor Detail, finishing Minor Detail, which is amazing, and you all need to pick it up.
Good.
Did you just start When Women Were Dragons, or what are you thinking about it so far?
So I'm a little way into it. I'm 85 pages into it, so I'm getting there. Really enjoying it so far. Olivia unhauled this my way, which is why she's asking, I assume, along with just curiosity. But yeah, I'm really enjoying it so far. I've got to the bit where I don't know if you looked at the package, but you know how there was a letter in this. So I've got to the bit where that's in the book, which was cool. So it's very interesting so far. I will say that there has been some stereotypical lesbian imagery in that they have the lesbian, who's only recently been thinged as a lesbian, but it's only 8 pages in, being like really butch and into like mechanics. And like that makes her weird and unacceptable in society. And she's a lesbian, and I'm like, but okay, we'll see where it goes. We'll see. It's got potential.
It's not like problematic yet. It's just that was the easy route. You've taken the easy route of like ticking these boxes.
Yeah. So I'm gonna wait until I see further into the book, because there is the potential that there's also other representation that is not as stereotypical as that. Also, this book isn't that old, so it doesn't get any sort of pass with that. I think it's from 2022. Yeah. So it doesn't get any sort of pass for its age. So we'll see.
What about you, Lizzie? I can see that your eyes are open, but barely.
I am still awake, but I did not listen to anything. I just put on a spooky video because there was a new one out. So that's what I've been doing.
I put music at one point, and I was like, Lizzie is not listening to an audiobook.
No,
that is not the sound of an audiobook.
I feel like I'm in danger of passing out at any point, so I'll do my best not to, but I don't know how much reading I'm actually going to get done in these reading sprints. So I'm the one that's going to let the team down tonight, guys. So
there's no letting us down. It's fine. It's fine.
I am
You've already read more Gothtober books than I have. So
well,
how much have you read?
I've read 4. No, wait, 1, 2, 3, 5 Gothtober books.
I've read 4 that were intended for Gothtober. I've read 7 in total.
That's fair. This will be my 4th for Gothtober, but I've read more than 4 books this month.
I can make all the others fit. And I have.
That's the thing. You just got to squeeze them in somehow.
Like, it's book that will haunt you, Les Mis. Book that will haunt you, Jane Eyre.
Yeah, that's fair.
So I'm making it work.
Hello and welcome. I did see that earlier, but I thought I'd highlight it now. All you did for that video was watch a video on a protest. Still a worthwhile way of spending time. Finished Woman in Black and moved on to The Devil in the Dark Water. What did you give The Woman in Black in the end? I had a really stunning copy of Woman in Black that had this kind of like white noise vibe to it that I really liked. Hated the actual book itself. I really didn't enjoy it. I know that it's like, I feel like anytime I'm anti a specific gothic book, I'm being a cretin, but I just did not vibe with that book at all.
Did not expect the word cretin.
Well, it's not quite heathen, is it? It's not like it's not biblical yet, but it's like it's not okay
yet.
Also, Hannah, I did read these sprints too.
You did? Oh, what did you read? Sorry, I didn't realize you were there. I thought you were getting your hair done.
I came in like 20 minutes in. I read 20
How did I
minutes.
not clock that at all? Like, how did I just not see that at all?
You were reading.
I was. So sorry, Olivia. Please tell me all about the book you were reading.
I was reading the book I read every single sprint called I Feed Her to the Beast, and the Beast is Me. But I only have 25 pages left now. So
Nice. So you and I are going to finish books around the same time then?
I've also got 25 pages left in Monstrous. Ooh, wrong one.
Nice.
But I don't think I'm going to finish it tonight.
That's fair. So Eleanor was eating dinner, 60 pages, and reading Where the Crawdads Sing. Fair enough. Washed your hair, reading the next sprint. I really want to wash my hair. None of my towels are clean. I've literally spent all day washing my towels because I've got no clean towels, and it makes me so sad. I started House of Good Bones. Never read a Tea Kingfisher before. There are so many of them, but I think it's going to be a quick read. That's fair. I really like The Hollow Places, which is the only one of Tea Kingfisher I've read so far. I will get to more of them, I'm sure. Love Nettle and Bone. I want to read all their books now. Yeah. Maybe when I'm done doing the Silva Moreno Garcia Gothic Along, I'll start a new Gothic Along for all the Tea Kingfisher books that I need to get to.
I think you're just going to love What Moves the Dead after enjoying Mexican Gothic.
I feel like I will. Are you enjoying your book, Olivia?
I don't know. Like, I don't know what rating I'm going to give it. I think the beginning is really good, and then it gets super slow. But if you like dark academia, you're going to like that. I went in thinking it was a young adult horror, so I thought it was going to be faster. It's not. And then the ending is really good right now, and really good in terms of the black rep. So I'm just a bit mixed. I don't know anything about it.
Yeah, expecting something fast and having it slow, for me, it's like, no, shit. To reevaluate, like, start again, because otherwise I'm just going to be annoyed that it's so slow.
Yeah, that's fair. That's totally fair. And Pixie's nearly out of chocolate, which I think is unacceptable.
Get to the shop.
Get to the shop. I always think that there's a certain like time, like mid-afternoon on a Sunday, where I'm like, I really fancy a snack, and it's probably a good thing that none of the supermarkets are open at that time. Like they're all closed because it's Sunday. Because otherwise, I would just be like,
I could go for a snack, and then you look at the clock, and you're like, it is 4:45, and I am in pajamas.
Yeah,
I will not reach the shop.
It's not happening. No.
That's how I solved all my snacking. Like, I love a good snack, but I will not leave my flat to get it. Like, if it's not here, I'm not having it.
It's why I don't buy crisps. So like Lizzie like really fancied some crisps the other day, so I bought them specifically, and then I ate like nearly 6. Like I bought like a multi-pack, and I ate loads. I was like, because they're there, so I'm gonna eat them. And it is one of the things that like one of my dad's catchphrases is, "I'm gonna stop buying this food because you just eat it."
Right.
I feel like it's so true though.
This is what Chris does. He's like, no, like I don't want crisps. We'll get it in the shop that we get delivered because we still don't drive. And he's like, oh, like I don't want any crisps. Which ones do you want? They both sound great for me. And so I pick my crisps, and then he eats half of them. About 3 times the speed at how fast I am eating mine. And he's like, yeah, no, I don't want crisps. I'm like, then why are you eating more? He's like, they're just there.
Well, this is why I've started, like, I keep making puddings, because then I'm like, there's just pudding in the fridge constantly, and I'm really annoyed at myself. I made a pumpkin-themed, but not actually tasting, cheesecake. So I did a salted caramel cheesecake from scratch. It was really tasty, and then I put loads of food coloring in it so that it came out this, like, peachy orange color, and then I got a black food coloring gel to, like, draw the pumpkin face on the front, and it looked really cute. And then I needed to like let it set. So I put it in the freezer, and that was fine. Put it in the fridge so that we could have some. Forgot to take a photo. And then it started leaking and the eyes started running and it looked more insidious than cute. And I was like, I'm not taking a photo of this. But so that's what I've started doing is I've started like baking things so that I can have like a portion of whatever it is that I've made. Because then I'm like, it feels like I'm not really snacking. I am snacking. I'm absolutely snacking. It doesn't feel like I'm snacking.
We have
there's like none left.
We've integrated daily snack time.
Cute.
So 3 p.m. we have fika, which is like Swedish. Like you take a break from work and you have a coffee and you have like a pastry, a cake, etc. And you just chill for a bit and then you go back to work. But like to the extent where I'll phone my boss asking him for help at like 2:45, and he's like, "Do we have time before you go on fika?" Like my boss is like, yeah, just disappear for 15-20 minutes. It's fine. I'm like, okay. So we just eat cinnamon buns that Chris has been making. It's great.
I love that. I love that.
Literally, I came back to something where my boss was CC'd into it, and it was like, oh yeah, Abby hasn't responded in the past 15 minutes, and my boss was like, 1, what the hell is your time expectation, and 2, she was busy. Like, I was busy eating a cinnamon bun, but thank you. Leave my pronunciation alone. Look, wait. I just had this arrive, annoyingly, yesterday morning? Yes, just after I had finished editing and scheduling my video that went up yesterday, already with an interruption in it, and more books arrived for my birthday. Swedish books, look. And they come from Sweden, so don't insult them. So I'm excited for these, because I will hopefully be able to actually learn some Swedish and improve my awful pronunciation. Yeah, but I can't speak Swedish, this is the problem. I've went from sounding German to sounding Italian when I speak Swedish, and I don't know if that's progress or anti-progress, but it's what's happening.
Are you more of like a savoury snacker or a sweet snacker?
Sweet.
I'm a sweet snacker. What are you, Lizzie?
Swings and roundabouts, to be honest. Depends on the day. But I do like a packet of crisps like at lunchtime. So I do miss it, but I also don't eat a lot, so it's very specific.
I feel like the thing is, like, you don't eat a lot. I do feel like you are more savoury than sweet. You like a sweet treat, but you are not a sweet snacker. And I think you like a sweet treat. Like, I will buy sweet treats in, because for me they're snacks, and then you might have them. Like, for example, there is a small tub of custard in the fridge that has been there for 2 weeks. Like, it's fine. It's like still in date and stuff, but we bought Lizzie that because Zach and I wanted a pudding. So Zach and I have had our pudding. Lizzie's is still there because Lizzie hasn't had it. And you haven't like snacked or anything. But the crisps lasted 3 days.
I will say though, like, I don't generally eat that much. And like, I don't know, my appetite is not there at the moment. So I don't really eat a lot of like anything. Unless I'm forced. Or unless I'm like super duper hungry because I'm an idiot and forgotten to eat breakfast or something. But it will depend.
We have a lot of really fun conversations about whether Lizzie's going to eat or not.
I came back from I came back from my I'm one of these people now, from my run today, and I hadn't. I know. I'm sorry.
I'm so disappointed in you.
I'm disappointed in me too.
I feel like Olivia's the only one that's like, no, good for you.
I mean,
my parents are proud of me, and it makes it worse.
I hate running, but I admire people who can do it.
I hate running.
It's because I need to do some form of exercise because I just sit on my ass all the time. And I'm just increasing in weight. And whilst that is not necessarily bad, I've not got to a bad weight. Like, I'm fine to keep increasing. But it's because I'm eating junk and not moving. And it's like, okay, I should move and eat less junk. And there's no gym nearby. And like my little ADHD brain, if I have to go to something before the thing, no, I need something that happens the second I need it to. So the only barrier between me and running is putting the clothes on and the shoes on and getting my key. Like it just the normal things of getting out the house, which would be the same barrier for any other exercise other than yoga, for example, which I have been looking into, but I wanted to kind of pair it with the running instead. So unfortunately, I'm doing the Couch to 5K BBC app. It's working, which is even more concerning. Like, I don't like it.
I don't like it.
Up to next month when Abby's like a professional jogger.
Yeah. It's like they do the park run every week, like Nathan does.
Oh God. But I came back from my run. Sorry. And it was like 1 o'clock and I hadn't eaten. And I just went on a half an hour run. And so Chris was like, I've made you toast with cheese and Branston pickle. You will eat it. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
I wasn't even hungry, but
like, I'll be like, Lizzie, so what time do we want dinner? And Lizzie's like, oh, I'm not that hungry. And I'm like, that's not what I asked. Like, what do we want for dinner? What time are we eating? Oh, I'm not that hungry. No, that's not what I asked.
But if you're not hungry, you can't think of things you want to eat.
No, valid. But those are the best times to eat because you're not going to overindulge with it. Like, I know I have a really bad relationship with food because I was one of those kids that was told I had to clear my plate. So I don't stop eating when I'm full. I eat when I'm done. And that means that sometimes like I will have something sweet because that is enough to tell my brain I'm done. Like that's the end of the meal now. We've finished, full stop. So I'm not very good at being like, oh, I'm not hungry anymore, but I still got like for example, if we order like a Chinese, I will intentionally put stuff aside because I won't be able to do that if it's on my plate. If it's on my plate, I will eat the whole thing, and I will put
I
myself
really
in
feel
a
that.
coma if I need to.
I have been working on it because Chris doesn't get it, and so he keeps loading up my plate, thinking he's doing a nice thing. And he's trying to remember to not, but he's the one who does the most of the cooking. And so I'm trying now to figure out faster when I'm actually full, because I was the same. It was always very much clear your plate. And then when I'm full and there's still a good amount in my bowl, and my brain's like, eat it, eat it, eat it. It's a waste. Eat it. Lunch tomorrow.
Yeah.
If there's enough, dinner tomorrow. So today, after I had the toasty made, I was still a little hungry, and so I had the rest of my stir fry that we had for dinner last night. So I'm like, it's working slowly.
That's fair. Well, I'm gonna have to do dinner in the next sprint, because if I don't get Lizzie to eat in the next sprint, Lizzie's gonna fall asleep and go without dinner.
I was really
And not in like a punishing you'll go without dinner, more like I'm concerned that I know all Lizzie has had to eat today is a small wrap from Subway.
I was really hoping you were just going to let me go to sleep.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Wonderful.
Mum has
Like, what time are you getting up tomorrow, Lizzie?
Fuck knows.
Have you got work tomorrow?
I do.
So are you going to get up in time to have breakfast?
Debatable.
Exactly. And then are you going to eat whilst you're at work? Yeah. So we're going to have dinner, because I can't guarantee you're not going to eat before 3 p.m. tomorrow afternoon if we don't.
Okay. Well, I'm working 11 till 7, so I think I will have to eat before then. And then I've got panto rehearsal at 7:30. So I'm going to have to find time to eat at some point.
Mm-hmm.
It's the realization of she has to eat now.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is.
But I'm
and
not.
They're gonna have to get up to have breakfast. They're gonna have to have breakfast. So
I mean, I trained my body to get hungry every 2.5 hours as possible.
Why?
Actually, because I was a bit like Lizzie before, and I used to just, I sometimes hyper focus on things, and then I've forgotten to eat. I was one of those really annoying people.
No,
so
I did
then I
that.
was like,
I think it's
make yourself eat breakfast, lunch, dinner, and also integrate snacks like 11:03. After a while, you will just be hungry at those times.
Yeah. Well, this is the thing, is like it's also supposed to help with like sleep and like jet lag, because it resets your body clock if you eat.
Insomniac.
Yeah. So it's like one of those things where like you can help. It doesn't obviously completely fix it if you are have insomnia or other things like that, but it is supposed to help you regulate. And I do find that if I wake up and have breakfast half an hour after I've woken up, I feel better. I am always hungry at 11:30 if I have breakfast, regardless.
Yeah.
But at least I know that I don't have as long to wait until lunch, and that actually it's not that I'm actually hungry. It's that mentally I'm like, I'm ready to eat again. So it's yeah. But everyone agrees custard is great. So that's what we're taking away from today, if nothing
That is
else.
what we're taking away. The thing is, if you do want me to eat something and you put custard in front of me, even if I've said I'm not hungry, I will at least attempt to eat it.
Yeah, that's valid. That's
With
totally
the plate emptying thing, I can be full. I can be not hungry at all. I could have snacked and ruined my appetite. But Chris will put a plate of food in front of me, and I'm like, well, I have to clear the plate. So I just start mechanically eating.
It's why, for me, like big holidays like Christmas are really dangerous, because my family won't cook like enough for us to eat for the Christmas dinner. They will do the whole thing where they'll be like, right, there is going to be beef, pork, turkey, all of it. And then it will just sit there. And I, throughout the day, will just continue to eat it. And like, I will feel sick on Boxing Day, but I will just keep eating because it's there. And I don't know how to, I might need to speak to my therapist about this anyway, because like, this is like stuff that we're talking about anyway. But I do feel like there is just that part of my brain that is like, it's not even that it would be wasteful. I like to eat. Like, I really like food, like good tasting food. I went for dinner with my family yesterday. And it was really nice. Like, they popped to Banbury. They were dropping some stuff off for me. Actually, I got this massive hamper from the business network. I'm not excited about it. One, half the stuff in there I won't eat, but two, actually they gave me this really nice bottle of prosecco that I'm never going to drink because I don't like prosecco. So that's fun. I've got
That's right. Zach can make his fucking gin and prosecco like cocktail thing.
Yeah,
I love it.
Yeah. But I had this steak and ale pie that was absolutely delicious, and I just really enjoyed it. And by the end, I was like, I am struggling to eat this, but the pastry was banging. Like, it was really rich. It was so tasty. And I was like, I'm going to eat the whole thing because I'm enjoying it. So it's not even like a portion control thing. Like, I know that if I can manage the portion before I start eating, I'll be fine because I will enjoy the experience of eating. And like, I'm not going to do a massive dinner. I'm just going to do like a really like cereal bowl sized portion of mac and cheese because it is like really simple. It's not going to take very long to cook and it's tasty. And plus it's beige, so that will keep Lizzie happy. So
that situation reminds me of a class that we did in economics, which I think about way too much for someone who didn't really like economics. And it's like a chart that's like this, and I'm trying to visualize it, and you have your like axes going up, and on one side is your investment and on the other side is your enjoyment.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a point where, like, if you go to the cinema and you spent money on a film, so you're like, I spent money on this film, I'm gonna watch it, and the film turns out to be bad, there's like a certain point where your enjoyment is going past the point of you having spent money, but people will often just sit there and stay there because they're like, I paid money for it, I need to get my full investment out of it. And it's just it's so interesting how so many times in life you've got that point, and I've been trying to use it to help me with DNFing a bit more, but I just find it so fascinating.
Yeah,
I mean, it's like with clothes as well. Like, you can buy something and you're like, oh, it's so pretty, and then you never wear it. I've got a jacket that I bought when I was like 17. I still love that jacket. I don't think it would fit now. I'm not the same size, but like, I still love that jacket, and so I don't even try it on because I'm like, yeah, of course I'm gonna keep it. Why? I've never worn it. It's been outside once for a job interview. But I'm like, oh, but I bought it and I like it, so I can't get rid of it. I've spent money on it. No, it should just go. Will it? No. But I know it should.
I've got like a bunch of high heels that I'm the same, where I've spent like a decent amount on them. They are nice shoes, but I never wear them. But I will not throw them away because I might. And like, I've spent money on them. Although having said that, I've seen a really gorgeous gothic pair of shoes by Koi who do like faux leather, and they're like 65 quid. They're not as high, and I'm like, I would live in these. Give these to me. I want them so badly, and I'm really hoping I get them for Christmas. And if I don't get them for Christmas, I might cry because they will not be available when like after Christmas.
Lizzie, I think she's hinting.
No, I've already told my mother. I've literally sent a photo to my mother and the link and how much they're going to be.
Abby, you think I know how much these shoes are because I saw them and was like, oh, they're lovely. And like, if I had that kind of money just to spend on shoes, I'd buy them for myself because I'm a cow.
And not also like Lizzie and I like swap clothes all the time. Lizzie's feet are tiny. We could not share shoes, and that would be so sad for me.
It would be.
Can you send the link for the shoes? I want to see the shoes.
Yeah, I will do that.
The spring.
I can show you them as well.
What
there are so many.
They're actually like, this is the other thing is they're Playboy shoes, which
I think, did you share them somewhere on social media? I feel like I've seen them.
I shared them on Twitter.
Yeah.
I like Koi shoes as well because they're really good quality. I've got a pair of boots by them and they're super comfy.
So these are them. I'd like all four of these. I'd like them all. I don't like Playboy as a brand. Like, I genuinely don't care about it. But tell me these aren't the sexiest shoes you've ever seen in your life. Like, look at that arch. That's so pretty.
See, I get the black ones, to be honest.
That's fair. The black ones are also super.
Yeah,
the way that the heel comes out and on the back of the velvety red ones is weird.
What do you mean?
It just, the heel comes in and then comes out again. It's odd. The black ones are straight down, but the feudal fantasy ones, weird.
The feudal fantasy ones. I don't know
what they're called.
It's so weird. Oh, okay. There we go.
Yeah, they're beautiful.
I mean, who wouldn't pose like that with shoes? Unnecessary pose. But anyway, yes, I think they're really pretty. I also really, really love the boots as well. All of them stunning. Anyway, if we need sustenance, then a snack. Yeah, I don't want something sweet. I do want chocolate sometimes, though. My mom got into running during lockdown. Hated it at first, but now she's addicted. This is the thing: if they do release endorphins, it happens. Feel free to hit me up.
I might do. I have a Swedish friend from my master's degree, and also Veronica from Veronica's Shelf, who is also Swedish. So I already have people just messaging me in Swedish and me just not understanding.
You're like, oh, I'm gonna have
to do that. I'll DM you. It's
fair.
a struggle, really.
That's fair. I'm so bad with food. I'm rarely hungry, so I eat at set times of the day to ensure I eat it all. That sometimes is what you have to do. The problem is like it has got to the point now where I don't even need to know what time it is, because if it's between 12 and 1 and I start feeling hungry, I know it's between 12 and 1. Like I don't have to look at the time to know it's that time. If I don't eat before 2, though, I'm a fucking menace. I'm just not a nice person to be around if I'm hangry. Yeah. Sunk cost fallacy. Yeah. And this is something that I think I didn't ever really fathom, especially when it comes to books, because to me, I don't necessarily think about how much money I've spent on the book. I think about the fact that that publisher has been supported to support those authors again. So to my mind, if I read a book and I don't like it, I don't feel bad that I'm putting it down, because I know that if it got to that point, it's found its audience. If it's an indie published one, I do find it more difficult because it might not
Or
have
not.
Yeah.
Yeah. I always feel awful about DNFing any sort of ARC or indie book or anything like that.
That's fair. Sunk cost fallacy, usually hope it's going to turn out, whereas DNFing, yeah, you've lost hope. Or you've just realized that actually there's other things you want to spend your time on. Like I DNF'd 2 books in the last 2 weeks. Neither of them are bad books. They are either books I am not interested in right now, or they're just books that they're not doing what I want them to do. And I'm not going to force my agenda on them because they're not going to pay off. And that was Blood Air, which was just too YA for me right now. Like I'm just not interested. Like I was really, really struggling. It had a real Shadow and Bone vibe. And I mean Shadow and Bone, the books, not like Six of Crows world, like TV series type vibe. And I was like, I'm just not here for it right now. And the other one was Her Majesty's Royal Coven. And I felt way worse about the LGBT book than I did about the Anastasia retelling, because I was like, at the end of the day, we do need more books by trans authors, and I feel worse DNFing this. But I'm also very aware that this book is beloved by BookTube in general. It has found its audience. It doesn't have to be me. So now Lizzie and I have a Fairy Loot edition of that we're selling. So if anyone does love it and did want an edition of that, let us know, because we are getting rid of it. Because Lizzie wasn't really vibing with it either. It just, again, it felt way too domestic. And I was like, I want this to feel more witchy. And it just didn't.
It's on my TBR, but that actually sounds good to me. As if it's like witchy adjacent, but not actually witchy, I tend to like it more.
That's fair. Whereas Lizzie and I prefer like full-on witchy vibes.
Yes.
Yeah. They're so pretty. They are pretty. Yeah, that's fair. I'm glad you're all on board with these shoes, to be fair. Made it even just to say hello and welcome. RDNF, the vibes are off, no logical reason necessary. Some books I will be like that, but I do feel like sometimes, and specifically when it's a readathon where we're actively endorsing disabled, rep, LGBT and BIPOC books, I will feel bad if they have those categories and I'm DNFing them. And I don't know if it's a sunken cost thing or if it's like a moral cost thing, where it's a case of I don't want to look bad for not liking them, especially because I'm so opinionated on endorsing reading BIPOC, LGBT, and disability rep books.
But if it looks bad if you don't read any LGBTQ plus authors and then DNF the only one you read. But as you so obviously read so many of them, that's so good. That's so good.
But I think it's almost like a form of imposter syndrome. I don't think it's that, like, I know realistically at this point, I know because I will tell other people about LGBT, disability rep, and BIPOC books that I'm like, I know I'm not actually a bad person, but there's almost like this imposter syndrome where I'm like, people are going to find out I'm ableist. People are going to find out that actually I'm a homophobe. I'm so scared. Like, and it's like, that's obviously not the case, but it's just this like imposter syndrome mentality of like, I'm going to get found out.
Especially when everyone else has loved it.
Yeah.
It's like that you've only seen like positive things about this book, and you're reading it and you're like, I think it's shit.
And it's like, because neither of them are bad books. They're just, I'm not vibing with them right now. So
Yeah,
I don't think I'll swim back around to either of them, to be honest.
When you put down Blood Air, I was like, that's sad, because I really
that did make you sad. But then you love the series, right?
Yeah, it's a really fun series, really fun Anastasia retelling.
But then you also like Shadow and Bone.
Oh yeah, but like Shadow and Bone is because I'm a bitch for the Darkling, like whatever.
But that's what I'm saying is like, I feel like you like a YA fantasy written in that style, whereas for me, there are only specific ones that I like that are written in that style.
Yeah, I think it was more the magic side of it. I thought it was a really interesting way of crafting a magic system.
Yeah.
And I quite enjoyed the kind of like challenges that came with that, because it's all like blood magic and stuff, and I enjoy that anyway.
That's fair. But to answer your question, Olivia, I really love the Poison Study series, which is obviously still it's written in a very YA way. It has some adult themes. So it's a very YA high fantasy. I really like The Cruel Prince. I like Akata. Like, it's trash. I'm very aware that it's trash, but I enjoy it. It's a good time. Similarly, I think In the Ravenous Dark has got quite a YA like style as well. Ruin Song, things like that.
I was going to say, our Faye book style is just the complete opposite. Like, complete opposite.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. For sure. Okay, cool. Right, I've reached the bottom of the comments. We've talked about all kinds of interesting topics, but I am going to make us read again. I think that's fair. But I'm gonna turn to my audiobook for a bit whilst I cook dinner, and then I'm gonna force Lizzie to eat something.
Yay.
So I will see you all in 45 minutes. I'm sure Olivia is going to finish a book during
Not necessarily, because I've got to do some Kara stuff for Simone as well as read a bit. So we'll see.
Fair. Okay. Well, I will see you in 45 minutes, regardless.
See you.
Hey. Sorry, I am just updating Insta because I finished the book.
Woo, woo.
How do we get on?
Pretty good. I read. Oh god, maths again. Why do I keep doing this? 22 more pages of When Women Were Dragons, and 59 pages of Days of Blood and Starlight. I decided to skip, for now, listening to She Who Became the Sun, because I tend to, like, my plan is to listen to this while I'm at work. Which obviously is not today, so I can do that tomorrow, unfortunately.
That's fair. So I'm glad you're enjoying it though, because I really liked that one.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting. I'm not too far into it yet. Like, I'm only 94 pages into She Who Became the Sun, but I am definitely invested. So I now have a million books on the go. No one is surprised.
Fair.
What about you guys?
Lizzie and I ate dinner as well, so I don't know what Lizzie got up to after that. What'd you get up to, Lizzie?
I mean, no one's surprised. I was still watching this spooky video I started. But yeah, my brain is officially dead.
Deceased.
Yeah. I was acting silly downstairs and Hannah told me to go to bed.
It wasn't that. It was like Lizzie was like, "I've got no, like, I'm done. I've got nothing." And then they started like wiggling, and I was like, "Yeah, go to bed."
So yeah, I didn't really do much.
That's fair. That's fair. What about yourself, Olivia?
I was helping Simone out, so I think I'm actually going to have to duck out in like 10 minutes to continue that. But I've got 10 more pages left of I Feed Her to the Beast. So
Not too much.
not too much.
Might finish it tonight, maybe. Not in the stream, not in the sprints, but maybe at some point this evening.
I'm not going to go to sleep without finishing it, because it's right by the end. It's actually like the very last moment, and then the timer went, and I was like, okay.
Fair enough. Well, let's see how everybody else got on. Where did I get to? Hello and welcome. Happy to see our faces. Yeah, I think most of us are enjoying our reads, to be fair. I know Olivia's obviously, you're like not sure where it's going to come out rating wise, but
Oh, do you know what's the most surprising thing? I'm enjoying Dune.
Okay.
Everybody's the judgment.
That is a surprise. I don't even know if like I'm just astounded.
Are you physically reading it?
I am like flicking between physically and physical. It was a lot of
audio and physical.
That's what I meant to say. In the beginning, it was a lot of audio, and now that I'm kind of in it a bit more, now it's more physical reading.
It has no chapters.
I know, it's really, really annoying, because when I am listening to the audiobook, you know how sometimes you audiobook and do other things? I can't do that because I need to keep turning, like I need to keep up.
Turn the page to know where you are. Yeah.
It's really annoying. But yeah. Otherwise, it's okay. I think it was very, very slow in the beginning, like super slow. But it just feels like sci-fi Game of Thrones, to be honest.
Yeah, it reads like high fantasy, but in a sci-fi setting. Like, I definitely got that vibe. I didn't hate Dune, but I could not read it physically. Like, there's absolutely no way I would have read that physically. But the audiobook, like, it was an enjoyable experience because it felt like high fantasy. Like, it wasn't too like spacey slang, but like there was every now and again it's like, oh yeah, this is a different planet and like space stuff is involved. But I'm also, in the same breath, I'm not finishing that series. I have absolutely no interest in reading any more of that series.
Yeah, like I didn't rate it badly. I gave it 3 stars. And I read it physically. But at the same time, Bro's not got the greatest way of writing women, which straight away puts me off. Just
I feel like I've only encountered like one woman not like one woman, but one main character woman
that actually speaks. Yeah, you
Yeah.
you will encounter a few more, and it's just they're all written badly. So that did put me off. And then the only reason I'm not rolling out reading the rest of them is because my other half, who is older and a male, loved this series when he read them. And so I'm like, oh, maybe I'll try it because he really liked them. So that's the only reason I'm not rolling it out. If I was single, like yeet.
Yeet. That's fair. I mean, I've obviously told the story of like how I was told about it in the first place, and the fact that I'm no interest in reading it, like zero interest. So
I mean, I'm reading your copy, so
like, don't get me wrong, it was a really pretty copy. I'm just not interested. Thank you very much. I gamed instead, and I beat a boss, so you feel accomplished, and so you should. Finish The Watchmen. Overall, it was okay. That's fair enough.
That's not the most glowing.
Yeah, I've had mixed things about that one.
what? Who's this by?
I assume this is the graphic novel. That's the DC one. It might not be.
Oh, it's on my shelf.
That doesn't surprise me, Olivia. You know pretty much.
Oh, okay. It was just okay. Okay.
Got through a chapter and a half of the 3-body problem. Not a Gothtober read. That's fair. That's fair. You got to catch all your book clubs at some point. She says, knowing that she's got about 6 different Lunar book club picks I need to finish in 2 months.
Nah, that's fine. That's fine. Let's not talk about the Lunar Book Club right now. I mean, it's a great book club, and everyone should definitely join it and like go on Waypoint Books, get yourself a Lunar Book Club pick. I'm sure they're great. I'm just terrible at keeping up with book club reads. So
yeah, last year we did a live show where we talked about all of the books in one go, and actually having them all. If I had a live show, I would feel more pressure to do it. So having that at the end of the year means I will read them all. I just haven't yet.
I just think it's going to be real fun. It's going to be a Lunar Book Club catch-up month, December, innit?
Yeah, speed run through them. I love the game Codenames, by the way. It's a good time. I prefer the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. That's totally fair. Thank you. I disappeared for a while to walk the dog, do some bits for work tomorrow, but read about 20 pages. Nice. Are you enjoying it? Because this is, excuse me, Wish You Weren't Here, which is by the same author that did Darkwood. So they also worked on the Horrible Histories. It's a very funny series, but this is their ghosty book. So I'm hoping it's a good time. Read 71 pages and I'm halfway through the book. Nice. You are so welcome. I don't know if we're going to do another one. I know that Lizzie's going to dip. Obviously, Olivia needs to dip. Abby, do you also need to dip?
Yeah.
It's like 10 to 10. Like, I'd understand. Like, I'm not going to be mad if you're like, yes.
I mean, I don't know what.
No, I was just trying to figure out if I did, but no, I'm falling asleep. I need to go nap on the couch.
I'm tired though. There's a music event. Yeah, I think it's going to be bedtime after this, guys. Sounds really good. I look forward to hearing your thoughts. It's alright. We're gonna have to wait like 2 months for a wrap up because Olivia likes to post them well after.
Listen, if I edit my September wrap up and get it posted in a week, that's still technically on time.
Yeah. Didn't you just
and it's part 2, okay? I have to do 2 of them.
Stop reading so much.
We'll do what I do and just put them all in a tub so that you can just forget what you read and then just kind of hope that it comes to you in the moment.
I don't know how you do that. I struggle to wrap up a book in the same month I've read it, and you're there pulling out books from like the start of the year. And like, oh, let me go review it. I'm like, bitch.
Last month, I pulled out one from July of last year. I was like, that's over a year old. And I've only just wrapped it up. And I looked at it and I was like, I read this ages ago. Oh, literally it says July on there, 2023. And I was like, yeah. And somehow I still remember. And I do think it's one of those things where like, because reading is like a kinetic thing, I've got to like actively engage the brain. That's why. Because I'll tell you what, I'm fucking terrible with names, regardless if it's a real person or fictional. I'll remember the general gist, and I'll remember if I like something, and I will absolutely remember if I didn't like something. But
couldn't tell you a single name. Shut up. I took it.
I've done it already.
It happens every time in these live streams. I've just read these. I've just been reading them. I would just sneakily finish the chapter in this one while we've been talking. Not that sneakily, you all noticed, but I was trying to finish the last page. I don't know any of the names. None. That's a lie. I remember one, obviously side characters' names. Her name is Beatrice, and for some reason I remember that. Main character, no clue. Main character, no clue.
That's
Who
fair.
even are these people?
Couldn't tell you. Couldn't tell you. Fast paced, very satisfying. I love that for you.
I do think Kingfisher's
Oh,
books are fast paced, to be fair. I think all of Kingfisher's books.
I think that's the thing. They write Gothic in quite a fast paced way, which I really like. I'm so sorry that you've just said this, and then we've gone. We're not going to screw it. We're not going to screw it. We're just going to go to bed. DNF Jinx, just physically. I like my reading speed of Lord of the Rings. Then I less like what characters. That's fair.
Yeah, it's slow.
I struggled more with Lord of the Rings, though.
That's fair. It's not. It's really not for everyone. Yeah, that's fair.
Right, Olivia, just breaking my heart a little bit there, but it's fine.
Yes,
I did read them all.
Which is more than I've done, but I enjoyed them.
It's totally fine. Lord of the Rings is not for everyone. It is not the most accessible of stories. I totally get it. I just, cry anyway.
This pleases me. This pleases me because I think Gabby Hutchinson character, this is the first book.
I thought you were saying it pleased you that Lizzie cried.
Oh no, yeah, that's standard in this house, right? I know, I'm joking.
Yeah, crying at books is totally normal.
No, people not liking Lord of the Rings.
Oh, that too. Yeah, no, for sure. Lizzie gets very territorial about Lord of the Rings, and if people start coming for Lord of the Rings related things, they will get territorial about it. But they are also the first person to say that it's not accessible. It's not necessarily going to be everyone's first pick. Would you argue that it's the best written high fantasy ever?
No.
Yeah. So there we go.
No, I think there are a lot of problems with it, and I think high fantasy has moved on a lot from where its beginnings were. But I also it depends on what the criticisms are, and a lot of it is high fantasy fuckboys who just are gatekeeping everything about Lord of the Rings. And then I'm like, no, fuck you guys. And then they're like, oh, you obviously know nothing, bitch. I did my dissertation on Lord of the Rings. Try me. I have studied this in depth. And then they all get all bitchy about it. It's like, oh, did I make you feel stupid? Oh, it's mostly people like that I get defensive about. I would love everyone to love Lord of the Rings, but it's an art form. It's not for everyone. People are not going to all like the same books. It just isn't going to happen. But I will say it is not the most accessible form of literature, and it wouldn't be where I would start with high fantasy for anyone at all.
I like that take.
My favorite bit of that is Lizzie basically being like, I know more than you. Because that's my favorite in any argument is I know more than you.
I love the try me.
Yeah. Try me because I know more than you. Yeah, I'm so sorry. I mean, feel free to scroll these back to the beginning and then you can sprint at least twice. I feel like I missed something, but that's fine.
Oh, that was Abby's alarm thing, I think.
Oh, I see. I just heard a drum beat and was like, I don't recognize this.
There's no drum beat. It's on a table and vibrates.
Okay. Books. My brain the moment I finish them. I know a lot of people like that. I'm like
that, which is why when something sticks in my brain, I'm like, this was a good book. If I remember more than 5 things that happen, I'm like, yes, this deserves a 4 or 5 star.
Forgetty spaghetti, this is me. I should do that. I just had to go mass update my core pile from August, so I will not be doing that, but I should.
Lord of the Rings has my whole heart. There you go. Kindreds. But I also love women.
Yes. And Tolkien himself was very much like, I can't write women.
This is really cool. Really cool.
All right, Eleanor, making me feel.
To be fair, Lizzie's not best pleased anyway because you won't be able to see them. I tilt them up here. Here, I have 3rd editions with the original maps, and they are all mine. They're the only thing on that shelf that does belong to me. Everything else on that shelf belongs to Lizzie. But if I should die, Lizzie has already nabbed these.
Yeah.
I mean, technically they haven't. I will be leaving them to Shane, but Lizzie has
No. Shane doesn't have a key to this house, so
Shane works with military forces I'm not allowed to know about.
Listen. I've never met this man, but I feel like I'm closer to those books physically, I mean, than he is. So I feel like I could get them out and away from
The
him.
thing is, he has a very special set of skills. He
I
will
don't care.
find you, and he will take those books from you.
I don't care. I do not care. But
You
also,
will have them for all of 5 minutes.
I grew
You're
up with
forgetting that Lizzie has the very special set of skills, which is very angry, very short person.
But the thing is, I know that Shane
He's not that tall
isn't
either,
that
to be fair.
tall, so like that's not a defense because like Hannah's spoken about him, and I'm like, oh, he has short personality too. That's scary. Like, I have a real feeling like Shane, I'll either really get on with him or I'm gonna fucking hate him. Either or.
And that's just absolutely what I love to hear. The idea of my flatmate and my best friend wanting to murder
The
each
thing
other.
is, I can't wait until he actually comes here so we can put those pictures up.
Yeah, that's true. He has promised to put. Well, thing is, the joke is, if we end up moving in Feb, then he's not going to need to.
I know. I
I
want those
love
books.
that.
Sorry.
I love that you weighed in. At least you cannot write when you are doing better than. Yeah, okay. This one, sorry. My sister's in Hamlet at Edinburgh Fridge with that Ian, and I made his costume. That's very cool. Cool. It really is like that 6 degrees of separation of like how people know people, you know?
There's always something weird. Like we just had Sir Bobby Charlton pass away, which a lot of people probably won't know who he is. But England footballer, comes from the northeast.
I've got to go because I can hit my sister. But
no worries. See you later.
Bye. But yeah, so Sir Bobby Charlton, England footballer, won the World Cup the only time England has with that team, and he played for Man U, which is the team I support. And he comes from the northeast of England, which is where I'm from. And like, you know, to me, like this man just passed away. He's in his 80s. I've never met the man. But you know, like I'm like parasocial, like, oh yeah, I've got respect for him. No, turns out my dad used to chat with his brother in Tesco's.
As you do.
His brother is renowned in football in his own right. Jack Charlton is a very good football player. I'm just like, what do you mean you used to chat with his brother before he died? What the So yeah, degrees of separation. Apparently my dad was only 1 degree of separation from someone who he considered an icon. And he also considers Sir Alex Ferguson an icon, who is just 1 degree separation away from that.
Well, I've got like really weird ones. So my dad's cleaner, up until very recently, is the mum of the guy that played Barry in EastEnders, who works obviously really closely with like Ricky Gervais and stuff like that. But like that was his like big thing, was that he was Barry in EastEnders, which was like iconic for people at the time. And then the other one is my uncle was part of the same drama society that Jude Law was in, and they both went for the main part of a particular performance that then was visited by talent scouts. But because Jude Law's mum was the director, she gave him the part on the night the talent scouts were there, not my uncle, even though they were both performing it. And he got picked for Alfie, and my uncle didn't.
Rude.
Those are my two. I mean, I've got like other claims to fame where I've met like Jimmy Carr and like Martin Johnson, who's like a really famous rugby player. But those two are in particular. And the other one is like really, really weird. On my nan's side, so on my dad's side, but his mum, her great grandmother wrote to Queen Victoria because she had like 12 kids and needed money. Her husband had just died, and wrote to Queen Victoria asking for work. And Queen Victoria sent her all of her petticoats to wash, and basically like gave her work that way. So that's like another like.
That's so cool.
It's like a really random thing, but like apparently like loads of people used to do it where they used to like write directly to Queen Victoria and be like, we need money, can you give us work, or can you give us like a gift or something. I know that she used to sell her gloves, her handmaids used to sell her gloves because she'd only ever wear them once because they were made of such a fine fabric, but they would then sell them on, and then that would be it would make them more money than their actual salary was, which was almost not livable on. But because she wasn't in charge of she's the queen, so she kind of was, but because she had men in charge of like her household and stuff, they couldn't earn more money, so she used to send work to women and stuff like that. So as much as she was a dickhead, like by no means a good person, there were things like that I thought were
She-
pretty cool.
She did a lot of good things in terms of what was directly in front of her. She wasn't great when it came to anything that wasn't literally placed in front of her eyeballs. So, like, what was his name? The man from India, who she ended, like, even though we were colonizing India at the time, she was, like, great friends with him, like, because he was put in front of her eyes. He put in front of her eyes a plight, and she would understand it and actually react in a good way, like a good human being.
Well,
But,
she was a great ruler. She was I had a very similar. I have a very similar mentality when it comes to like Winston Churchill, for example, who was a racist, misogynist, and not a good person, but was very pragmatic and had a very like interesting thought process. And because like we've got obviously
Levin Palace.
Thank you, which is obviously where he was born and his ancestry comes from, like the 95th Earl of Marlborough or whatever, and like they come from like dukedoms and all sorts of things. But he was an avid writer, an avid reader, and was very pragmatic in the way that he like dealt with things. I find like that really interesting. Like, yes, not a good person, but very interesting. And I kind of I view him and Queen Vic in very similar ways. Of like, they're not good people, but it's interesting to see how and where they problem solved. And it's also why I really like TV series about monarchs in general, because I think we tend to remember the ones that are far more tyrannical than the ones that did a good job because they just kept things moving. Like they just kept kind of like.
I've only seen one season of The Crown, like the first one, obviously, and I enjoyed it. And I plan to watch more of it, but Chris wants to, which means it's currently delayed because it's not a priority for him. And then I've seen all, I think it was 2 or 3 seasons of Victoria by ITV. Oh my god, I loved that show.
That's fair. Oh, Pixie's worried that we're royalists. I don't think that's going to go.
Oh no, like abolish the monarchy, please.
Like we don't need it.
Not modern monarchy, but like historical monarchy is fascinating. Like when you look at some of what the like older monarchs did, like Queen Victoria, for example, is a really interesting example because of how Victorian England was under Victoria. And I think that's fascinating. I don't think it's a good thing we still have royals, and I think, abolish it, but like history is fascinating no matter what it is, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like Queen Elizabeth II, Queen Elizabeth I as well, Queen Elizabeth II, it's so fascinating to kind of see, because obviously she was never actually intended for power in any form. And so she had to contend with a lot. She served as much as women could do at the time without pretending to be male, which she was too high profile to do, as much as women could during World War II. And she's always tried to kind of keep some sort of foot in the public eye, even though she couldn't, because she's the queen. And like, just abolish the monarchy, please.
Yeah.
Like, we don't need it anymore, but it's fascinating. Yeah, like
my Roman Empire is the Tudors. The Tudors and the Georgians. Like, it's not that I think about them on a daily basis, but I think about the Tudors and the Georgians too much. The Georgians more recently because I enjoy Jane Austen, but I've always been obsessed with the Tudors.
You were going to say Bridgerton.
Hey, we met.
Just in my head, I was like,
Bridgerton's fine, but no.
Mine is Ancient Egypt.
Valid.
I don't think I have one. I guess it's volcanoes.
Yours is rocks. Let's be honest. Yours is rocks and rock formations and.
I was going to say volcanoes and rocks. Like those are the two like discerning factors about your life that isn't about books. I'm like, yeah, volcanoes, because you always think about them.
Yeah. But the Tudors, I feel like that's like forced into you at school, because I did like at least 4 years in history class, and I didn't take history after I was, how old are we? 14. I feel like the Tudors are like forced down your throat. And like, they're fascinating. Do not get me wrong. They are fascinating. There's so many aspects to learn about them, but like, it's very much in the English curriculum.
See, I think, I agree. But I think we also spent a lot of time doing ancient Egypt, but I feel like my secondary recollections of history are split straight down the middle with slavery as an abstract construct, not the actual, this is a thing we did, but just that this is a thing that existed. And in the Americas, this is a thing that existed, as opposed to like, no, that's colonization and the Second World War. I feel like those two things.
Yeah, I didn't have
hung up a door.
I didn't have normal secondary school. So for me, my high school, I only took history for 1 year because it's before English students then choose when they different subjects and stuff. And so I was like, oh yeah, my high school memory of it is only 2 subjects as well. It's like, yeah, because it's you'll do 2 subjects in a year. So mine was the Titanic and the Holocaust.
Yes. Yeah.
Lots of death.
And to be fair, like I think like as if you're going to pick 2 super important things to teach, and like I went to an all-girls school and it was a grammar school, right? So you have to do a special test to get in to prove you're smart enough. If you're going to teach a subject to elitist white girls, colonization and mass genocide, probably top tier choices. Because yes, I could sit and talk about why Georgians painted their kitchens blue. That's not going to help me with empathy the way talking about the Holocaust is. You know?
Honestly, the main thing I remember from history class, it's a good job that I'm interested in this stuff on my own. The main thing I remember from history class is I watched the same section of Schindler's List about 7 times between history class and, we called it personal development, but it's like a mixture of RE, sex ed. Yeah, being a nice human being who knows how to get about life classes. We just kept watching the same bit of Schindler's List to the point where I could point out when my really squeamish friend needed to look away from the deaths and the shootings. But so the only thing I really remember is those moments and when the people die and the sex scene, which my history teacher didn't want a bunch of year 9s watching who are like 13, 14. But she was playing us this. Bear in mind, this is like 2010. She's playing us this on a VHS. So trying to fast forward and or rewind.
And all it does is it just speeds it up. Like it doesn't. Yeah, no, for sure.
I don't know if you've seen Schindler's List, but the sex scene is a lady, man. I don't know why I did it this way. Lady and man on like this, and it just sped up.
Incredible.
This is my only memory. Luckily, I have.
You're like, I learned so much.
Read extensively about the Holocaust, but Schindler's List.
One of the books that we taught our year 7s and 8s was The Boy in the Striped Pajamas, and again, it's a lesson in empathy, and it's also because it ties to the fact they're learning about the Holocaust in history.
You do know about that book, right?
What about that book?
It's
Probably,
not
but yeah,
good. It's not a good book.
No, but it's one of the ones that we were teaching, and to be fair, this was years ago.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah. So we were talking about this book. Anyway, I remember we'd read the book, we'd studied it, they'd done their assessments. The last lesson, they were going to watch the film, and we had obviously like 5 minutes before the end. And I realized 1, it wasn't going to finish, so we were going to run over, and 2, I was sending them to geography in tears. So I like emailed their I just dropped her a text and was like, hey, really sorry. Not only is this entire class of kids going to be late, they are all going to be in tears, and I've somehow made it your problem. She was like, thanks, Hannah. I'm like, yeah, I'm really sorry. I did not time this well at all. So they watched the scene where like obviously the kids get like put into the thing, and it's so traumatic. And I just remember and I said to the girls, I was like, I said to the whole class, I was like, if anyone is going to be upset by this, just go to geography. And all of them were like, no, we don't like geography. We're going to stick it out. Everyone was in tears. And I was like, yeah, probably should have just gone to class. Like, this was traumatizing. So
I was made to watch it on a school bus, on a school trip just after we'd been to a concentration camp in the Netherlands. And they were like, does anyone have any issue with watching it? And I was the only one who said yes, that I didn't want to watch it. Never been a fan of films. Didn't want to watch it. And I got told off for saying that I didn't want to watch it. And when I tried to distract myself, the teacher pulled my head and made me look up at the screen that was on the fold down screen at the top of the bus and made me watch it. So I was traumatized and bullied at the same time.
That's fair. When I was very young, my dad used to live next to the dude that played Gilligan from Gilligan's Island. That's really cool. They played the music together a few times. Nice. Apparently he's also a huge arsehole. Yeah, there's a comedian called Vic Reeves who lives in Kent, very close to where I used to live in Folkestone, and I used to work a couple of creative markets, and he came through quite a lot and was just rude to everybody. Just is an absolute arsehole. So I just stay out of his way. I was like, I'm not interested. I'm mostly joking, don't worry. I'm a little worried that you think I'm a royalist, but that's fine. Yeah, I don't know. You'll find it. You will find your specialist subject.
It will happen.
I am a Hampton Court bitch. I used to go to uni in Twickenham, which is obviously over the road from Richmond, which is where Hampton Court is. I'm a Hampton Court bitch. Anne Boleyn, greatly misunderstood. I fucking love her. Like, I adore her. So anyway.
I'm gonna have to go because I'm falling asleep.
That's fine.
You are in bed.
Yeah.
This is actually just gonna like close the app. It's not even the whole laptop. It's just close app.
No, just close the app, put my YouTube on, and I will be passed out by the time Hannah comes upstairs, I'm sure.
Yeah, that's fair.
But yeah, I don't want to just be like falling like asleep and you be like, why are you still here?
Yeah.
It was lovely hanging. Nice to see you again, Abby.
You too.
Bye.
Bye.
The temptation though to just go upstairs, take my laptop with me, and just force Lizzie to be on the sprint some more.
She'd be like, "Oh, you thought you were going?"
Oh hey! Well, the thing is, we were literally saying at the start, you know, Lizzie doesn't care if I'm sprinting. They will just come in and involve themselves. I can do it back. That's valid. That's fair. That's such a good memory.
I did try to explain things with ages and concepts as well, so you weren't just like, "Oh yeah, in year 9 when you were before you picked your GCSEs. What the fuck is that?" No, I was trying to explain a little bit.
You're doing the best. Yeah, so upsetting. And do you know what's crazy is I feel like we just, as an English curriculum, we try and traumatize kids early because we're like, if you're studying literature, you've got to understand empathy. So we're going to go in with sad books first because you did The Boy in the Striped Pajamas, not a great rep. Did the Curious Case of the Dog in the Nighttime, not good rep. And we did Of Mice and Men.
I've still not read that one.
It's okay, but
We did
obviously massively
school-
racist because of its time and like everything else, but also very sad.
Well, in my school, Of Mice and Men was read by the lower grade, like the lower sets, and To Kill a Mockingbird was read by the upper sets.
Mm.
And so I read To Kill a Mockingbird, but like hearing that it's racist, like surely To Kill a Mockingbird is a lot more obvious in its statements. So if Of Mice and Men is racist, would it not make sense to swap them around? But no, because To Kill a Mockingbird is longer, and they didn't think that the lower set kids could read the whole book.
Yeah, that's fair. I feel like we just read The Crucible 6 times. I quite
Oh,
like
I did
The
that!
Crucible, though.
It was awful. My name's Abigail.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. Yeah. See, this is the thing. I did it all the way through uni, and I continue to talk about English even now. I was always telling my teacher about how the yeah, valid. Yeah. Year after we read that, yeah, that's fair.
I've not heard of that one.
What the?
Being there.
Yeah. I've heard of it. We didn't read it though. Let's have a look. By Jerzy Kosinski. It's now called Chance, a satirical novel. Being their book summary. A satiric fable about Chance, simple-minded gardener whose innocence, shallow platitudes, and total dependence on television for his world are interpreted as evidence for profound genius by socialites, business leaders, and politicians. If it is the one I'm thinking of.
I've never heard of it before.
Everyone in my school read The White Tiger, but it wasn't the thing I read because I switched schools. That's fair. The way the teacher used The Dog in the Night to talk about autism. Yeah, so this is it, right? And I'm really annoyed that Diana has dipped already because I feel like Diana and I taught at the same school, so would have like insight to add to this. But I trained to be a teaching assistant first, and then a teacher. And part of that training was doing SEN training, and that's special educational needs training. So it's anyone who's neurodivergent or deaf or needs any kind of special requirements outside of English as a second language, which is EAL, right? So you do additional training for that so that you can help support students, because as a teacher, you're managing 30 people, and those SEN students need additional support that you might not be able to provide every minute of every day because you're also managing 29 other kids. So one of the things that we were told was to read A Curious Case of the Dog in the Nighttime so that we could empathize and rationalize how neurodivergent students would process information. Which I can't tell you, like at the time, I had no theoretical experience with neurodivergence whatsoever. The only practical experience I had is my cousin is Aspergeric. So I don't think he would be diagnosed with Asperger's now, but obviously this was 30 years ago. So he was diagnosed very early on. I think he was maybe 2 or 3. We've always known he was autistic. He's definitely neurodivergent. He actually now works as an art therapist in Birmingham. He's only like an hour away from me now. And he specializes in working with traumatized kids and neurodivergent people to kind of process feelings they can't articulate, but through art instead. So he has taken his neurodivergence and his experiences in particular and kind of created a support system that he can then back up with the knowledge and degree that he has and like the experience that he has. So he's a very, very clever person. And we were talking over the summer about the fact that this is a book that I was told to read. And I keep trying to force teachers to read A Kind of Spark instead. Because 1, it's a neurodivergent author. 2, it is a much better representation of what happens when someone who is neurodivergent feels overwhelmed. Now, it's obviously not going to be the same for everybody because it's a divergence at the end of the day. It's going to be different for everybody. But I nearly made my cousin cry because I was telling him about this book and I kept obviously referring to it rather than to autism as neurodivergence and talking about all these different things, dyspraxia and blah, blah, blah. And he was like, no one outside of work, he was like, no one in my family, no one in my group of friends ever uses this terminology. And it's like, they just don't get it. And he was like, we were just sat in a bar and he was nearly crying. And I was like, I did not realize that's how low the bar was. Like, and I think it's a real shame, but it is one of those things where I get really frustrated when I ask people about books they've read by about neurodivergence. That is the only book they've read, or it's a book they've heard of, or they really liked the play. And I'm like, the play's great. It's not accurate though. And you can't use it as a template. And you certainly should not be telling teachers to read it so they can empathize with their students.
I think my mum must have had the same branch of training. My mum's a teaching assistant because she has come back and been like, oh, it's such a great book. And she means well. She has no other experience other than the kids that she sees day to day. And I know from the stories that she tells me that she does good by these kids. And anytime that she's ranting to me and, just venting, because it's different. She has no formal training. She did like however much that was in the teaching assistant training, which is barely anything. And then they just decided she was the SEN teaching assistant. She's having a great time. When I was a kid, she was awful with SEN students. But that was before she was a teaching assistant. So the training did something. And I have to like give her advice because she's just going about it in a way. And I'm like, no, I've got autistic, like ADHD, other, neurodivergent friends. And I can tell you right now that they would slap you if they were the child that you were dealing with. So can you do this instead, please?
Yeah, when I
try this out. She's like, oh, it worked. I'm like,
yeah, I mean, like 9 times out of 10, it's not. I remember like I was doing this thing and someone was like, oh, you're like really good with like the SEN kids. And I was like, I feel like that's because I'm not badgering them or I'm not putting additional pressure on them. I don't expect them to make eye contact with me as a sign of respect. I don't expect them to necessarily always verbalize what it is they need. I'm also not going to bombard them with a whole bunch of questions and things like that because I know that that's not, I guess, because I've grown up with my cousin not being able to respond to stuff like that. Like he finds it very difficult to know what emotion you're feeling unless you either kind of have very clear indicators. Like if you're shouting, he'll work it out. But if you're sat there and you're like quietly fuming to yourself, he will not pick up that you're angry unless you say, hey, Ryan, I'm feeling away. Like, and he will, like, he's not cruel. He's not trying to upset you. But like, I remember like as a kid, my mum used to get really frustrated with him because because my gran and his parents knew that he was autistic, they would just pander to whatever it was mood he was having. So like there was a time, my mom loves bringing this up, there was a time when like all of us had different Power Rangers. I had like the green Power Ranger, my brother had the black Power Ranger, whatever, and Ryan decided he wanted my green Power Ranger to go with his white Power Ranger and just took it from me. And because I'm the oldest, I just took it back. Like I'm like, excuse me, this is my toy. Like absolutely not. And he started having like a fit about it, and my nan snatched the toy off me and gave it back to him. And my mom was just like, why have you done that? One, it's Hannah's toy. Two, you're like, that's not fair. You're not going to take it off Ryan to give it to Hannah if Hannah starts crying. Like that's not okay. And my nan was like, yeah, but he's autistic. He doesn't understand that. And it's like, well, Hannah's a kid. She doesn't understand why you've done that either. Like that's not okay. So I think it's been quite tricky, because I think in domestic settings there is no opportunity for training. There is no kind of like additional understanding. The only way you're going to get that is through media, and books and films and things like that are so super important. And it's why I'm thrilled that Kind of Spark is a TV series now, because I'm like, one, it's a really honest adaptation, according to like Lizzie's seen it and is like really pleased with it. Two, it's produced by the BBC, so it will have got decent funding. Like I know it'll be of good quality, so chances are the royalties of it mean that it will be able to be played in schools as well, so it is far more accessible. And like I love that, and I would much rather people went to that one. And also we know its own voices. We know that it's like by an author who is out in being neurodivergent. I also wanted to like talk about this comment as well, because for my A level we did Khaled Hosseini's The Kite Runner, and that also has a homosexual rape scene in it. And the whole book is about this character leaving some, like he has this friend that you later find out is actually his half brother. But because he is his half brother, his dad treats him like his additional son. And the boy, whilst friends with him, doesn't really like that. He doesn't understand why this friend is given special treatment when he isn't. But obviously it's because the father can't actually do anything to like support this son. But the younger boy is sexually assaulted. The older boy, who is the richer one, does nothing about it. So the rest of the book is him dealing with that guilt and then going back and saving this boy's son 20 years later. Because obviously it's set out in Afghanistan, so it has like the Taliban and ISIS and things like that in it. So it's really interesting, but it's really fucking sad. Were we told there would be a rape scene when we studied it? No. And it was very clear when we rocked up to that lesson who had read the chapter and who hadn't, because those who had read the chapter were very cagey about what it is we were going to say, and those who hadn't, you like just didn't seem to understand why we were having such an emotional response to this chapter in the first place. So that was quite entertaining. But I find it really, really bizarre that that's a thing we talk about in lessons, but we don't necessarily like. There's no like positive LGBT stories that are on the syllabus, but there is multiple homophobic rape scenes. So yeah, that's a whole other thing. Yeah, I feel like it's sometimes viewed as easier to teach sadder books, but yeah, I didn't think it was, but that's
I think the name
from 30 years ago.
I think the name comes from someone who did some awful things as well.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's after one of the doctors who like discovered it, but discovered it through terrible means. And I feel like it is probably I feel like I'm playing out this out of nowhere. I feel like it might be like a Nazi as well.
Yeah, he was a Nazi.
There we go. Yeah. So thank you for dropping by anyway. Yeah, we are finishing soon. Abby and I haven't finished putting the world to rights first, but once we have,
let's do this before we can do anything else.
Yeah, that's fair. But I remember, like, my cousin. There's a really nice shopping centre, like 20 minutes away from where he lives, called Blue Water. It's massive. It's a really nice shopping centre. But he went there to meet his friends because a bunch of kids invited him there. He waited 6 hours and they just didn't show up because they had no interest in hanging out with him. And he had no understanding that was what was going to happen to him. And then when he tried to talk to them at school, one of them threw a brick at him. Like, it's brutal. It's brutal. And like, because he could not pick up on, like, where normally we would pick up on those cues of like you're being antagonistic, he couldn't. And he wanted to believe these kids when they said they wanted to be his friends. And like now, like, he's got loads of friends now. Like he's just the nicest guy. He's incredibly competitive though. And I tell you what, I nearly beat him at bowling the other day, and he was not impressed. Like, he'll throw a temper tantrum even as a 30-year-old. He's got no problem doing that. But genuinely, like, just the nicest guy. And I got real angry when I found out about that. But there was not a lot we could do because we just lived too far away.
Yeah.
I want to see the adaptation, but it's not accessible. Can you get a VPN? Could you pretend? Yeah, of course he was a Nazi. Of course he was. I hate how much science we have, medical science we have, because of Nazis. I hate that because
people experimenting on enslaved Black women in the United States. That's where we have a lot of our gynecological knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
The person who did it didn't think that they needed any painkillers because Black people didn't need painkillers. Of course not, and especially not Black women.
No, there's like that whole myth about the fact that your melanin in your skin would mean that you didn't need painkillers. It's like, that's a lie. Like, that's just not true. Wild.
Literally, the only colour that has any impact on painkiller is if you've got ginger hair.
Is that actually true though, or is that just not another myth?
Oh no, that's true. You have
because
if you ginger, you have to tell because you need more to put you under. Like, they found this out over the time of just lots of people who have dyed their hair and are no longer showing ginger, waking up under anesthesia in operations and then being like, what the fuck? And then eventually someone was like, are you ginger? And they were like, yeah.
Yes, I am. Or I was.
I was, I dyed it. So yeah, that's an actual thing. I think it.
The only reason I ask is because, like, when I had my appendix out, it got as bad as it got because I didn't realize I had appendicitis, because I just wasn't reacting to the pain the way other people did, and my pain threshold from playing rugby was really high. So I wondered, like, they gave me, or I was prescribed morphine for 2 weeks. I had it for 3 days because I just wasn't using it. And after the third day after surgery, they were like, we're going to give this to someone else because you don't need it. Like, it would just be a waste to leave it here. So I wondered if it was something along those lines. Now I'm an absolute wuss. If I stub my toe or catch a splinter, I will cry about it. But like, as a teen, I could take
when I had like my constant migraines, because I had a migraine for 3 years solid, and it would just fluctuate in how bad it was. Then they're like, what's your pain on a scale from 1 to 10? And I'd be like, it feels like a 7. If I had that 7 this very second, I would be crying, leaning over a toilet thinking I'm about to vomit, phoning my mummy and daddy saying, I don't know very well.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how. The things that happen when you have to deal with pain constantly are just, like, even now my pain scale is skewed versus like the baseline of a healthy person. I don't know what it feels like to be healthy. I never will.
No.
But like, so even then, like, my pain scale is already skewed. But then at that, like, then Jesus Christ. Like, if I was at a 10, I should have been in the ER.
Mm-hmm.
But like, you know, like, people are used to, especially teenagers, saying, oh, it's like a 10. And they're like, right, so it's like 5. Cool. And it's like, no, I'm dying.
No, I'm actually. That's the thing, is I kind of had the opposite, where like these nurses and doctors came in and were like poking my stomach and were like, does this hurt? And I was like, no. And they were like, you should be in so much pain that you're passing out. And I was like, I mean, I do feel a bit sleepy. Does that count? like, and like, don't get me wrong, like, I had been passing out in class. Like, the reason it had got this bad, and okay, the cats are crying again. The reason it had got to the point where I had gone to A&E in the first place is because my mum had finally dragged me to the GP, because I was like, I am fine. Like, it's a stomach bug. I'm skiving off school. It's not that bad. I just don't want to be there. But I had passed out in chemistry, and my teacher had sent me home because he was like, you were in like seriously close to A, causing some damage because we were doing an experiment, and B, I thought you were gonna like fall off your chair. And he's like, I considered waking you, but you look so unwell that I'm just gonna send you home. And I was like, I've never had a teacher, like usually you have to tell the teacher that you don't feel well, right? And they like send you home, or like they'll ask if you're okay, and like, do you need a snack or whatever. Like this guy was like, go home, like whatever it is you have, I don't want anyone else having it, go home. And like, yeah, apparently like I was like halfway through having a conversation with him, I don't remember this, apparently I was like halfway through having a conversation with him and I was like, yeah, like I just passed out.
To be fair, regardless of like that would terrify me as a teacher, like someone just as a person someone dropping off mid-sentence,
yeah,
go to A&E.
I'm like, get out of here. No, it took me 3 more weeks. I wasn't bright. I was not.
That is the same sort of thing I would have done at the same age.
But I do want to, again, picking out this random comics, I want to say that something like this. If you've read Sandy Toksvig's Almanac from 2021, there are so many women in there that she talks about, specifically in science, but also in history, that just have their stuff stolen by men. Like, it's just...
Sounds about right.
But there's one in particular that I adore, where these 2 guys got the Nobel Prize for chemistry using a woman's theory, because they had this experiment, they had in practice what they thought they could prove, but they didn't have the equation that would actually prove it. She rocked up, did it, and then they got the credit. But because at the time women couldn't get Nobel Prizes, she was just not added to the list.
Yeah.
So,
well, the reason I zipped away for a second is because I have been going on about this lately, which I got from Canongate. You read it. She's friends with Sandy Toksvig. She mentioned.
Well, yeah, they were on the same comedic circuit. Yeah,
it's so good. It's so good. Like, have you seen my TikTok about it?
No, actually, your TikToks have not come up on my For You page in ages. I will make a note.
So I will say, like, my username is the same. It's Abby of Paranor. If you want a small spoiler about what I personally think is the best part of this book, which is a memoir, so it's all about her life. So like spoilers are different with memoirs. Then go and see my TikTok. I'm holding this in the thumbnaily thing of it because it's perfection. You will love it. It's my favorite thing. I told Chris, and Chris is like, so Dune McKeon is now your icon. I'm like, yes, of course. Like, completely, utterly, I will die for her. Every time we see her in Good Omens, I'm like, ah.
Sorry, I've just seen a article that says that houses 10 minutes down the road from where I grew up are now worth 2.1 million each. And I'm like, oh, I've officially been priced out of my hometown. Today's been a weird day emotionally, and I feel like that's just added to it. But anyway, it feels like 5, but yeah. Oh, sorry, I'd read that but didn't comment on it. So the idea that they've got chronic pain that is through their brain, so it's difficult.
Yeah.
And it's chronic migraines from long COVID have totally screwed my sense of pain tolerance. Yeah, and I think
Migraine Club, we're sorry to have you.
It's I think also I just don't think people are in general that sympathetic towards any kind of medical thing. Like, they never have been, but I feel like it's a little bit worse than I've seen it before since COVID. I think mental health is far more spoken about, a lot less taboo, but I don't see a lot of support for people with chronic pain or anything like that. Like, I just don't see it.
It doesn't, as someone who has like invisible issues, like all of my physical issues are not visible, and it doesn't seem all that different. Like for me at least, like just out in the world, interacting with people at work, it seems the same, both on a negative and a positive way. But I think if it's anything that could be, like if I had migraines and I was like people say like, oh, how long have you had them? Since I was 15. Whereas if instead I said, oh, ever since I had COVID, I know what, like it's if you mention COVID, that's when it comes in. If I said, oh, I have chronic migraines since I had long COVID, then dismissal immediately. But they seem to be, it's hard to tell if they're more understanding. It feels like It feels to me like they are, but also I'm now currently working in an environment where I am one of the oldest people, which means the environment is very understanding, very like chill, like so
Yeah.
people are more understanding of it, but I think it's just because I am currently one of the elders.
You're an elder. That's
Literally,
incredible.
they're like, "Oh, grandma's here." I'm like, "You can all go die."
Oh,
Honestly.
too far. Too far.
Too far. They say that when there's a 31-year-old lad already in the chat.
Mm.
I'm like, how do you think he feels? Is he a skeleton?
I'm
My
I'm
boss
dead.
is younger than me.
I'm gonna be 32 in 2 months or 3 months.
I'll
That's
just have to
mental.
send you cards with the age on for Chris's birthday, and it'll make you feel better.
Thanks.
It'll make Chris feel worse.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. Honestly, people have been expecting to the chronic migraines. I feel like because everyone gets headaches. It's something that people can understand to an extent, but they do when you have like long periods of migraines, they do get confused as to why you are still migrainous. So I'm like, it's not like a headache. It's not going to go. It goes when it wants to. I'm very lucky that at the minute my migraines tend to be a day to like max 4 days, which is in the boundaries of what people experience for a headache. It used to be 3 years. It was 3 years. Like, but then with my arm, people are like, oh yeah, like the next time they see me, if I still have my bandage on, or if I say that I can't like lift something up or do something, it's my dominant arm. So if I mention it, happens fairly often because it's my dominant arm, and they're like, oh, that still hurts. Like anyone from school, I did this when I was 15, and anyone from school, if I meet up with them again, and they're like, that arm, weren't you lying about that to get attention? I'm like, no, bro, why would I lie about this? It made my life so inconvenient.
To be fair, I will say that I severely bruised 2 fingers on my hands, and I had this like thing that was like strapped to it, and it got me out of PE. And eventually I just kept the thing and I would just put it on my hand to go to PE. And I remember vividly and with great embarrassment, it fell off because obviously it wasn't attached anymore. And my teacher was like, yeah, you can go get changed. And I was like, damn it. Like I was embarrassed because I'd got away with it for so long. Like I think I got away with it for like, I had it on properly for like 2 weeks, but I think I'd kept it on for like 8 or 9 weeks. Like I got away with it for a long time. And like my teacher had suspected for like a really long time that wasn't like I didn't need it anymore, but it was still on my hands. And then it just fell off in front of her once. And I just remember just being like, I've been caught. Like there's no way I'm getting out of this. And she was like, to be fair, she didn't punish me. She was just
other
like
than making you just join PE. Yeah,
you can join PE
right
now. And I was
for
just
PE, like for me, I just straight up like told the PE teachers, both of them, like my PE class was actually really good. Weirdly, all of us were like quite happy to play a game, even if we weren't any good at it. Not usual in British secondary schools. And I just told them like, yeah, my right arm is fucked. Like anything else, sure. And so like they would put me like on specific teams if we played rounders because I'm right-handed and I'm batting with my left hand. And even then, even though I'm still trying to actually do everything, like I'm there trying to learn to write in my left hand, I'm there getting like medical exemptions, and people are still like, "Oh, you're faking it. You just want the attention." I'm like, "No,
yeah, but it's because dickheads like me were faking it for attention. So I'm so sorry that I have contributed to the problem in that way, but I was just trying to get out of PE, which is weird because like I was super competitive. I did not view myself as sporty at all. But I talk to Lizzie now and Lizzie's like, no, you were a sporty kid. And I was like, I played rugby, I did horse riding, and I did dance 4 times a week. Like, of course I was a sporty kid. I just didn't view myself as a sporty kid because I didn't play football and I hated running. So like those were the 2 things that were like,
what was wrong with PE?
I just didn't like it. I just was not interested in it. And I don't know if it's because there were quite clearly favorites of the PE teachers. And I don't know if it was just the fact that the PE, like the idea of having to wear those stupid fucking shorts. I just didn't like PE. I think also I am not very good with any subject where I'm forced to do something I don't want to do. So like I didn't like DT for the same reason. Art I really enjoyed because we would learn a particular art style. We would try to recreate it, but generally we could do whatever the fuck we wanted so long as we did like an art project. And same with like English, it was very kind of, you're kind of discussing it and you're learning it and you're absorbing it, but it's not, you have to do this thing. And I think I just resented being told I had to do PE. And I hated hockey, I hated football, and those are the two sports that we would do at least once a term.
Teachers are so important. So important. Like the two teachers that we had for PE, like there were two girls that just refused to do PE.
This makes me feel better because I'm not gonna lie, there's like things like that where I'm like, I know I was 13, I know I was stupid, and I obviously like karma came for me because like the following year I got appendicitis and I missed most of year 10 because I just was at home skiving because I was really unwell. So karma came for me, but I appreciate it. See you later. We were going to leave like half an hour ago. We're still just
no, we never do.
But what I find really interesting is Beth from Books Nest the other day on their Patreon live stream was talking about how they really want to join like an adult PE class. And I love the idea of like rocking up to a gym and we do a different sport every week and it's only for like half an hour. I'd love that. I don't want to go to an aerobics class where everyone has been doing the same aerobics thing for the last 7 months minimum. So therefore they all know the routines and I'm the newbie there. I want it to be a case of, okay, this is everyone is trying and it's something different every single week.
You know what I really miss? We used to set up when we had to do PE indoors, either if we didn't have space on the field or on the tarmac outside, or if it was raining, we would, when they let us, set up all of the like gymnastics equipment strategically, hello kitty, around the little PE gym, and we would play rounders with it.
Mm-hmm.
So you'd hit the ball, you'd run, and we didn't have the bases like you do in rounders. If you don't know rounders, it's basically the precursor to baseball. You didn't have the bases. Instead, you had to be on the gymnastics equipment. So whether that was on a beam, whether that was on a pommel horse, whether that was clinging, as one girl did, for 10 minutes to a rope. And eventually she called up, the teacher forgot about her. She like paused the game. Everyone else was like stood on their things and she's going to the rope and we were all like, miss. She's like, I'm talking, girls, right? And then we're like, Georgia's hanging from the rope. She was like, okay, you're in. Just walk to the end, it's fine.
Tom Allen does a whole bit about the classic British apparatus of like these things that would like swing from the wall and you'd like have like the ladders and like I fucking love those.
Never. The only version I got to play on is that we had basically ladders.
Yeah.
They were essentially ladders and we would bring them out for this and you had to go over the top of the ladders to finish the rounders loop.
Yeah.
Never.
They were super fucking dangerous, but they were a good time.
Oh, they were fun. We had them in my primary school. One of them. But no, I wasn't ever allowed to play on them. See, even the cat is displeased for me.
Yeah, he is. I just thought I would give everyone some kitty time before we go to bed.
Yeah. We do need to shut up because otherwise we'll be here all night.
Oh, you know we can put the world to rights forever. So.
Yeah, literally. They shouldn't have Lizzie should not have left us alone.
To be fair, Olivia shouldn't have left. Olivia would have helped, would have called us on it. So is there anything you want to shout out before you leave?
I'm still doing a post every single day for the Gothtober photo challenge over on my Instagram, and I did just pop a video up yesterday at 4 p.m, which was my birthday book haul, if you want to see some of the new books that have come in.
I love that for you. I love that for you. Excellent. Right. Well, in which case, I had every intention. Someone suggested during the live show yesterday of setting up a outro video that I put to share so that plays as it zooms out so we don't have to wave like idiots, but I have not done that. So I'm going to click end stream and then we're going to wave like idiots. But I hope everyone's had a really good time. And I will see you all. I am sprinting again next week, but we've got the sleepover first. So as I said, it's going to be on Olivia's channel. It will be 7 till midnight. And either Olivia or Tish are sprinting at some point during the week. I might also be sprinting, but that will be a spur of the moment thing because I need accountability as opposed to a Gothtober thing in particular. But yeah, I hope you guys have enjoyed this and I will see you all very soon.
Bye.
Bye.